Good morning. It is 5:51 a.m. on Monday, October 12th, 2015. I'm Christiana Ellis and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. So, this is me trying to get up early again so that I have time for writing before work, and it's going great. Um, I'm super tired right now. I really am. I'm super tired. Um, but the whole thing is like you have to get up when you're still tired and then use that tiredness to make you go to bed earlier and do the whole thing to shift the schedule earlier, but it's not a fun process. It's much easier to go the other way. Um, recorded talking about Survivor last night, so the YouTube version is up now, and I'll be getting the audio version up tonight. That's the plan. Um, so it's Columbus Day, which has been interesting to monitor how Columbus Day is approached, thought of over my lifetime. Right, cameras on. Just in the sense that it is absolutely true that there's a lot of historical evidence to suggest Columbus, not such a nice guy. I'm less impressed with the arguments that we shouldn't celebrate Columbus because he wasn't actually the first person to discover North America. First European, I suppose, because, of course, the people that were here already. I think that argument is not the best one to use because regardless of whether or not he was the first, he was certainly the first to do it in a way that led to all of this subsequent historical stuff happening. Just like even if, the Vikings were here hundreds of years before that, they didn't stick around. And so as a result, it's kind of like, which one is of more historical significance? The first or the one that led to the subsequent colonization of the continent and all of that stuff? So, I mean, it seems like it's still of historical significance, even if it wasn't technically the first. Now, I could also see, though, that given some of the awful things that he did later to the native peoples and so on, that we could decide that he is not a worthy guy to celebrate for that reason. But getting all hung up on the first, being the first, that I don't know. Although it's certainly also true that in a lot of the material where we were talking about Columbus in a celebratory way did try to emphasize him being the first and like making it trying to say how like that's the reason. But it's also interesting, I guess, to think about the urban myths surrounding the whole thing, like the idea that somehow people thought that, like, I remember when I was a kid thinking that the big deal was that he proved the earth was round. Like, people thought the earth was flat and they thought he was going to sail off the edge of the earth, and then he didn't because it was round, and everybody said, "What?" That's nonsense, of course. I hope people realize that by now. People did not think that the earth was flat. It is self-evidently not flat if you are a sailor, because you see ships appear below the horizon and then start to gradually go above the horizon as they approach. Not to mention a flat earth makes no sense. I don't know. I suppose that's context sensitive. But in any case, that does not appear to be historically accurate, this idea that people really thought the earth was flat. I mean, maybe some people did, but, some people still do. And so that's an interesting part. Like, what is the big deal about Columbus? certainly, I think what it is that he just kind of was the first through the door in a whole new historical thing. Certainly, they take Columbus Day very seriously around here. I'm not 100% sure why it's such a big deal in Boston specifically, but it is. Um, and yet, the other thing is, kind of turned out to be sort of an awful guy, and so it's a weird holiday still. So I don't know. Do we celebrate Columbus Day now? Is it a you know the all the banks and stuff are closed to schools today. Um, I'm not off work, um, but I suppose it's a day that if nothing else, we could talk about it. All right. Well, have a good Columbus Day, I guess. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow for 5 more minutes.